What's up, Two Wheel family? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 things that I really don't care for about the 2025 Suzuki GSXR 750. So if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Booster Rails. There's a booster on the other side. Probably can't see it, but there's the booster on the other side. That's where Booster Rails came from. I've got over 24 years of riding experience, and everything I talk about is through my experience. So let's get right into it. Now, the first thing, this is something that I know a lot of people have talked about over like the last 5 years, and that's that Suzuki has not changed this bike since 2011. So that's a pretty long time. And we thought for 26 that there was gonna be a change, but not so much. I don't believe there's going to be any change. As a matter of fact, I know there's not going to be a change to it in 2026. So what we see is what we got for another year. You know, a lot of bikes, you know, over the years, they have, you know, certain runs where they go a little bit longer than others. But I think 2011 and we're going into 2026, that's more than enough time to change up. I'm not just saying you got to do a complete change, but something as simple as a front facelift or maybe change up the rear tail section. Give us something, you know. So that's just a note to Suzuki. We're ready for a little bit of change. Not, like I said, not saying you got to reinvent the wheel, but just, you know, a little updates. So that is the first thing that I want to talk about. Now, the second thing, okay, technology is really taking over bikes. And I know some people don't like tech, so forth and so on. And this one isn't so much as a tech overall, where we want the traction control and we want ABS and all this. I'm not talking about those things. But it's something that's already on the other bikes outside of the 600 and the 750. And that is a quick shifter and auto blipper. Heck, I would, you know, and for those that don't know what an auto blipper is, that's being able to downshift without using your clutch. But I would even settle just for a quick shifter on the 750. It is a fun bike, an extremely fun bike, and being able to have the capabilities of a quick shifter, I think would take it to another level of being able to have fun on the back roads, on the road courses, and so forth and so on. So, you know, I know people say, well, you know, I know how to shift without using the clutch. Yeah, you can, but for the new riders, the more inexperienced riders, I don't want them tearing their transmission or their clutches up trying to figure out and learn how to shift the bike without using the clutch. So, hey, Suzuki, we would appreciate a quick shifter at a minimum. Now, an auto blipper along with that would be amazing, but at least a quick shifter on the next version of the 750 would be amazing. So now, these things that I'm telling you guys, it's not a deal breaker on this end. You know, these are things, if you're looking at the 750 and you may say, well, you know what? I would like to have that on a bike. That might have you look in a different direction. Or you may say, they don't matter to me. I'm still going to get it, but I want you to know about it. So let me get my phone because I got a couple other things on there. Okay. Next up, and it's more along the electronic line. Now, like I said, they haven't changed this bike at all. And one thing that still remains the same, which could have been changed, I think, years ago, is the gauge cluster, guys. The gauge cluster is still the classic from, I mean, it goes further back than 2011. You know, I love the way that the Jigsaw 1000 gauge cluster is, the LCD, I think they call it a TFT screen. I mean, it's, you know, everything, it's digital, the colors in it. I mean, it's an amazing display, in my opinion. I think it's one of the better displays out there amongst sport bikes. Now, of course, you know, when you're talking leader bikes, you're going to have more than the smaller CC bikes. But I think from an aesthetic point, having that updated display to look, doesn't even have to be exactly like the 1000, but in the same family, you know. So get rid of I mean, this is the same gauge cluster, I think, since maybe like '06. At the end of the day, you know, the trimming changes colors or whatnot, but just the style and the setup. So I think if they go to that, like that one piece that the 1000 has, I think that would be a really, really great aesthetic update for the Suzuki GSXR 750. Now this next one, we're gonna step away from the electronic side of things. This next one comes into the riding aspect of the bike. Now, yes, this is, you know, a sport bike. The ergonomics are geared for being a sport bike. You're more pitched when you're sitting on it, vice something like the Busa. But when riding this bike and you get into maybe 2,500 to 3,000 RPM range, you hear what do they call them? If I'm not mistaken, it's like the air valves, either air valve or butterfly valve, one of them, don't get me mistaken. But it sounds like a fluttering noise until you get past like maybe 4,500 RPM or something like that, or 4,000, somewhere around there. But when I first rode the bike, I thought something was wrong. I'm like, hold on, man, this don't sound right. My booster doesn't sound like that. I don't remember my '07 GSXR sounding like that. But it's because that valve opens up a little bit, and that's where you get that sound from my research, okay? So I don't work at Suzuki, but from talking to people that work on the bike and have a history with the 750 specifically, that's what it comes down to be. I really don't like the sound personally. You know, it's like I said, it's like a fluttering sound. If you got a 750, you've heard it. I know you heard it. Now, I don't know if there's a way to eliminate it. I haven't tried it yet. So if you have any ways or you've eliminated it, let me know. Or if it's just something that just with the 750, then it is what it is. But seeing as how all of the, well, a lot of other bikes don't have that sound, I'm like, I know there's a way to either, you know, to improve the bike to where you don't get that sound when you're around, like I said, anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 RPM. I think that's when it starts to open. And then I think it closes around 4,500, somewhere like that. So if I'm taking off and accelerating on the bike, I hear it. And then once I get to a certain RPM, it goes away. So not a deal breaker, but that's something that I could do without because I don't have that on the Busa. I haven't had it on any of my other bikes that I had. Like I said, I had a '07 GSXR, and I really don't remember having that sound. So that's one other thing. And last but not least, is going into more riding aspect of the bike. I wish that it would have came from the factory with a smoother tune, okay? I'm not saying they got to go and do the whole performance flash and tune, but riding this bike is real jerky, whether you're accelerating or whether you're decelerating. Like if you just roll off of the throttle, you're gonna lurch forward like that. You know what I mean? And when you give it, when you give it gas, when you accelerate rather, it's a jerk type movement. Now, yes, I know that a flash and tune can fix that and eliminate that. But I'm like, Suzuki, why wouldn't you want to put out something that's a little bit smoother in the acceleration or the deceleration of the bike? That would, make for a better riding experience, I think. And then too, for people like that may choose to get the 750 as their first bike, I think that it's a disadvantage to them trying to get down the mechanics of riding and stuff like that, So not a deal breaker, of course, because you see we still got the bike sitting here in the garage. Things like that are, I like to put out that type of information so people, when they're doing their homework, they can say, okay, well, this and this and this and this about the 750 is what I learned, and I'm cool with it. I'm still gonna get it. Or, you know what, I might wanna look somewhere else when it comes to purchasing a new bike. So those are my 5 things that I don't feel so strongly about the 750. You know, will I get it flash and tune? Yeah, we're gonna get it flash and tune eventually. Something that the missus really wants to do, because this is her primary riding machine right there. And like I said, my boost is on the other side, and that's my primary, but you know, we switch it out sometimes. So if you have any other questions about my experience with the 2025 Suzuki GSXR 750, just hit me up in the comments below. And if some of those things you agree with or disagree with, drop it down in the comments as well. So until next video, it's your main man Boost Rails. And if you're out there, ride safe, keep the rubber side down, shiny side up. Peace.